You keep waiting, not for something specific, just waiting. Waiting for the moment when things finally click, when motivation shows up, when life gives you a sign. You tell yourself you're being patient, that you're just taking your time. But deep down, you already know the truth. Nobody is coming to save you. At some point in your life, you were made to believe that things would work themselves out, that clarity would arrive on its own. That one day, you'd wake up and suddenly feel ready. So you waited. You waited for confidence before acting. You waited for permission to change. You waited for the fear to disappear. And waiting felt comfortable, because as long as you were waiting, you didn't have to risk being wrong. You didn't have to fail. You didn't have to confront the possibility that you might not succeed. Waiting protected you from disappointment. But here's what no one tells you. Waiting isn't patience. It's avoidance. You tell yourself you're stuck because of circumstances, because of money, because of your past, because of people who didn't support you. But the real reason feels harder to face. If you move and nothing changes, then you can't blame anyone anymore. So you stay still. You convince yourself that something external will arrive and shift everything. A person, an opportunity, a moment of inspiration strong enough to carry you forward. And because that moment hasn't arrived yet, you remain where you are. Not miserable enough to escape. Not fulfilled enough to feel alive. Just existing. Days begin to blur together. Weeks pass quietly. Time moves forward, even when you don't. And the most dangerous part is that nothing feels wrong enough to panic. You adjust. You get used to the weight you carry. You get used to postponing your own life. You get used to telling yourself, later. Later becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And slowly, without noticing when it happened, waiting becomes who you are. Nobody talks about this stage. The stage where you aren't broken. You aren't failing. You aren't suffering loudly. You're just numb. You scroll. You distract yourself. You make plans you never fully commit to. You tell yourself you'll start when things feel different. But they don't. Because the truth is uncomfortable. If someone was coming to save you, they would have already arrived. No one is watching closely enough to rescue you. No one feels the pressure you feel late at night. No one hears the conversations you have with yourself when you're alone. And that realization hurts. Not because it's cruel, but because it removes the last excuse. The moment you accept that nobody is coming, something changes. You stop waiting for permission. You stop negotiating with time. You stop hoping motivation will do the work for you. You realize that the door was never locked. You were just standing in front of it, convincing yourself it would open on its own. This doesn't mean everything becomes easy. It doesn't mean fear disappears. It doesn't mean you suddenly know exactly what to do. It just means the responsibility finally belongs to you. And that's terrifying, but it's also the first honest moment you've had in a long time. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to stop waiting for a version of yourself that never arrives. The life you want isn't hidden. It isn't locked behind the right circumstances. It isn't waiting for the right mood. It's waiting for a decision you've been delaying. This isn't motivation. It's not encouragement. It's the truth you already felt but avoided naming. Nobody is coming to save you. And once you accept that, you finally understand something important. You were never powerless. You were just waiting. If you're ready to stop waiting and take control, hit subscribe now and join the viewers who refuse to hand their life to chance.